If you live in the Northeast, you probably thought you had packed the snow shovels away. You probably thought you'd scraped your windshield for the last time this season. Well, Mother Nature had other plans. For the second time in less than a month, New York City and the surrounding tri-state area have been slammed by a massive winter storm system. And this one, it's packing a punch that caught millions off guard.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, and today we are breaking down the breaking news out of the Big Apple. A powerful nor'easter has just blanketed New York City, dropping near-record snowfall, shutting down major infrastructure, and leaving millions of Americans dealing with a brutal winter commute. Today, we're going to look at the ground-level impact of this storm, how the city is responding to back-to-back blizzards, what the experts are saying about these bizarre weather patterns, and most importantly, when you can expect things to go back to normal. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's dive into the snow. To understand how we got here, we have to look at how quickly this system developed. Meteorologists had been tracking a low-pressure system moving up the eastern seaboard, but cold air sweeping down from Canada collided with moisture from the Atlantic. The result? A classic textbook nor'easter. You can't talk about a New York snowstorm without talking about the ripple effect it has on the entire country's travel network. New York is a massive hub. When NYC sneezes, the rest of the U.S. catches a cold. Today, the travel industry is in the ICU. As of this morning, more than 2,500 flights have been canceled across the three major airports, JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark Liberty. If you had a layover in New York today, or you were trying to get to the East Coast, you are likely sleeping on a terminal floor or rebooking for next Tuesday. Back on the ground, the situation isn't much better. Mayor Eric Adams issued a travel advisory late last night, urging all non-essential workers to stay off the roads. But New York is a city that never sleeps, and millions still had to clock in. Let's talk numbers. Central Park, the official measuring stick for New York City weather, recorded a staggering 8 to 10 inches in just a 12-hour window. But if you look at the outer boroughs and the suburbs, it gets worse. Parts of Queens and the Bronx saw nearly a foot. Head out to Long Island or northern New Jersey, and some communities are digging out from under 14 inches of heavy, wet snow. And it's that type of snow that's causing the most headaches. This isn't the light, fluffy powder you want for skiing. This is what locals call heart attack snow. It's dense, it's loaded with moisture, and it sticks to everything, including power lines and tree branches. What makes this storm so uniquely frustrating for New Yorkers is the timing. It was just a few weeks ago that the city was paralyzed by the first major storm of the season. The salt was barely washed off the roads, the Department of Sanitation had just serviced their plows, and boom, round two. The MTA, the lifeblood of the city, is running on significant delays. While the underground subway lines are mostly insulated from the snow, the elevated tracks in Queens, Brooklyn, and the Bronx have been battered by freezing winds. Switches are freezing and signal problems are rampant. For commuters on the Long Island Railroad and Metro North, expect massive delays. We do have to give credit where credit is due. The New York City Department of Sanitation mobilized over 2,000 salt spreaders and plows. These men and women have been working 12-hour shifts through the night, battling whiteout conditions to keep the main emergency arteries open for ambulances and fire trucks. But surviving a winter storm isn't just about the commute. For hundreds of thousands of residents, the real danger is happening inside their homes. Remember that heavy, wet snow we talked about earlier? It's wreaking havoc on the power grid. As of noon today, Con Edison and PSEG are reporting over 150,000 customers without power across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. With temperatures forecasted to plunge into the low teens tonight, losing heat is a life-threatening emergency. The city has opened warming centers across the 5 boroughs, but for many elderly residents, navigating the icy, snow-choked sidewalks to get to them is a massive risk. Listen, we're New Yorkers, we're tough, we get it done. But 2 storms in a month? It's exhausting. I just dug my car out 3 weeks ago, and now the plow just came by and buried it again. You gotta laugh, otherwise you're gonna cry. And of course, there's the grocery store panic. If you stepped foot in a Trader Joe's or a local supermarket yesterday evening, you saw lines wrapping around the block. Bread, milk, and eggs, the holy trinity of storm prep, were wiped off the shelves in hours.
So we're left with a big question. Why are we seeing back-to-back megastorms? New York winters have actually been relatively mild over the last few years. In fact, just last year, NYC broke a record for the least amount of snow in a winter season. So why the sudden whiplash? Climatologists and meteorologists point to a few colliding factors. First, we are in a strong El Niño pattern. This typically brings warmer, wetter air across the southern United States. But simultaneously, a disruption in the polar vortex has allowed frigid Arctic air to spill down further south than usual. When you have this warm, incredibly moist air from the Atlantic Ocean meeting bone-chilling Arctic air right over the mid-Atlantic coast, it acts like an atmospheric bomb. This rapid drop in pressure creates what meteorologists call a bomb cyclone. Furthermore, scientists note that the Atlantic Ocean's surface temperatures are unusually warm right now. Warmer water means more evaporation. More evaporation means more moisture in the air. When that moisture hits the cold front, it doesn't just rain, it dumps massive, historic amounts of snow. We are witnessing the real-time effects of a changing climate, where extremes, whether it's total drought or back-to-back blizzards, become the new normal. But despite the chaos, the power outages, and the gridlocked traffic, there is undeniably a quiet beauty to New York City after a storm. For the kids who got a rare snow day and the adults who got to work from home, the city temporarily transformed into a winter wonderland. Listen, we're New Yorkers. We're tough. We get it done. But 2 storms in a month? It's exhausting. I just dug my car out 3 weeks ago, and now the plow just came by and buried it again. You gotta laugh, otherwise you're gonna cry. And of course, there's the grocery store panic. If you stepped foot in a Trader Joe's or a local supermarket yesterday evening, you saw lines wrapping around the block. Bread, milk, and eggs, the holy trinity of storm prep, were wiped off the shelves in hours. So we're left with a big question. Why are we seeing back-to-back megastorms? New York winters have actually been relatively mild over the last few years. In fact, just last year, NYC broke a record for the least amount of snow in a winter season. So why the sudden whiplash? Climatologists and meteorologists point to a few colliding factors. First, we are in a strong El Niño pattern. This typically brings warmer, wetter air across the southern United States. But simultaneously, a disruption in the polar vortex has allowed frigid Arctic air to spill down further south than usual.
So, when does this all melt? If you're hoping for a quick thaw, you're out of luck. The forecast for the next 4 days shows high temperatures struggling to break the freezing mark of 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That means tonight, the biggest danger won't be falling snow, it will be black ice. Any slush on the roads and sidewalks is going to freeze solid overnight. If you have to commute tomorrow morning, take it slow. Check on your elderly neighbors, keep your pets inside, and if you see a downed power line, do not go near it. Call 311 or 911 immediately. We'll be keeping a close eye on the recovery efforts and grid impacts over the coming days. Are you in the Northeast right now? Let me know how much snow you got in the comments down below, and tell me how your neighborhood is holding up. If you found this update helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update on the stories impacting the USA. Stay warm, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.